Fatherless is an interesting word. Everyone has a father, but how that father relates to their children is a different story. Everyone in this room has a father, but everyone has a different experience with their father.
The most detrimental predictor of poor long-term outcome for children is fatherlessness. And of course, that's something no one will talk about either because, well, every family's the same and it doesn't matter if you have a father. Well, it turns out to bloody well matter a lot because if you don't have a father, you're far more likely to become pregnant as a teenage girl. You hit puberty earlier. You're way more likely to be alcoholic. Your rates of mental illness go through the roof, and if you have sons, they're far more likely to be criminal, incarcerated, and drug addicted. And it's not a trivial effect. And so men are necessary in families, and the more time they spend with their children, proper time, the better.
Regardless of whatever type of dad we had, we all had one. But what does the definition of fatherless mean? Fatherless in this case actually puts the responsibility and the ownership on the father to be engaging, to be enlightening, to be encouraging, and to equip their children. Fathers who fail to create a firm foundation for their children actually put their children at a great disadvantage. The children that actually have to go through a fatherless situation have the ability or look at life in a different format. There's no guessing or second guessing to even think that a child that has gone through such a difficult situation has not had to overcome some significant barriers. In fact, it is a fact that children who have both parents are more inclined, especially if those parents gave them clear boundaries and clear expectations, those children are more likely to be emotionally, educationally, socially, and also behaviorally more prominent.
So my idea is to keep families intact. Girls with no fathers in the home have lower self-esteem. Okay, fine, that sucks, but also women with low self-esteem are more promiscuous. No father families more likely to be victims of abuse, especially with single mothers. Single mothers men just tend to be more predatorial. But either way, there's violence and abuse. Children with high BMI more often come from fatherless homes. Here's something interesting. Say that word, I can't say it. I'll throw it to you. Thank you. Fathers have the fittest children. The more opportunities a child has to interact with biological father, the less likely they are to commit a crime or have contact with the juvenile justice system. Okay, another way to say that is men and women who are incarcerated, the population of the prisons mostly encompass fatherless homes. Now here's something that no one else has mentioned, which I think is cool, and I don't really say this eloquently. If a man and wife raise a child, they're less likely to end up in jail, but they have the same statistical chance as children raised by just their father. So if we want to keep children, adults, out of prison, mother, father, or just father. Well, we don't want to hear just father, so let's try to keep the families intact. I think that just seems better.
But it's going to take a lifetime of work. So what I would tell my son is the brutal reality of the world. Life is going to be really hard, really unfair, and you better start competing right now real fast because everything you want in this world, you're going to have to take it. My sons are going to be ruthless and they're going to own your sons, and that's why single women, they raise these boys and it kind of sets them up. Because if there's not a strong father in the house, the son is at a disadvantage.
Moms turn babies into boys, but it's the dads who turn boys into men. And when the dads are absent or emotionally absent, and when they haven't been taught how to be a man, how to stand up and shake hands, you don't just say hi to someone, you stand up, shake hands, make eye contact. If you're walking on a sidewalk with a woman, a man walks on the street side. You're opening doors for women. You're a savage and a servant. You're a lamb and a lion. Are you going to show up as a passive-aggressive man, or are you going to show up as a guy who can protect, provide, and preside, lead his family?
When it comes to single-parent homes where the father is the single parent, the kids tend to turn out better than when the mother is single.
Do you know why that is? It's after the age of like women raise better kids up to the age of like 7, where men raise better kids after, and it's because men are more consistent where women are more emotional. So
Yes.
it's like confusing for a kid, like what's right, what's wrong when mom's on her period once a month, and like today, like this is really wrong, but last week it was kind of wrong, you know? And the other thing is that men are better with money financially. So
Some men.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Majority.
the majority, like women make 70 to 80% of consumer buying decisions. We also spend more, even though we make less.
When I really stop to pause and think about the damage that is done to the children that are going through this fatherless process, I quiver and I lament for them. The distractions that they have to go through, the things that they have to overcome. Did you know that children that grow up without their father are more likely to have a diminished worldview of themselves, low self-esteem? Did you know that they are more likely to not necessarily believe that they can actually accomplish that which they reach for? This is a very difficult situation for a child to be in. Did you know that children that grow up without their father are more likely to have behavioral issues, more likely to have mental health issues, more likely to have children outside of wedlock or be extremely promiscuous or be more promiscuous? Did you know that those same children are more likely to end up in jail or to end up homeless? This is a constant issue over and over again that we see in our society.
If a man is at home all the time and he's the breadwinner, that's a bad sign. And the problem with being a father is you can never get it 100. If I give you time, we don't have money. If I get the money, you don't have me. I can't be there and earn a living at the same time. I'm limited, and I have an obligation to make sure your life is better than mine. The difficult thing about being a father is that everybody wants it now. The kid wants it now, the wife wants it now, the job wants it now, the opportunity is now, because in your early years are your earning years. All the things that you call normal are miracles. Your normal is your daddy's miracle. But the reason you don't see it is because it's normal.
My daughter came up to me when she was like 5 years old and says, "Daddy, why do you travel so much?" And so I said, "Sweetheart, this is how I take care of the family. This is how I provide for you. This is how I take care of mom. This is how I put a roof over the head. This is how I put food on the table." She goes, "Daddy, if I eat less, will you stay home more?" At age 5. I was packing for a trip. Now, if this was a fairy tale, I'd have unpacked my bag, I'd have grabbed her hand, we'd have went out for ice cream. I kept packing. And then many years later, I sat down my daughter and I said, "Hey, I want to talk to you." And I wanted to discuss with her why Dad is the way he is. And before I could even start, she goes, "Dad, I understand." She goes, "I could see what you provided for Mom and I. I could see the sacrifices you made for us." She goes, "You taught me how to make the toughest decisions in life." She goes, "Not only taught me, you showed me."
If you don't raise your children, one day you'll have to fight them. So I think that we have to catch children. I know this, it almost sounds culty, but minds are malleable at any age. But we have to, I think, catch children and just raise them with logic and nurturing. And I think they'll come out ahead.